What is going on, good people? Welcome to another edition of Freedom Story Entertainment presenting Galaxy Gab with none other than Guardian. Which way do I point? There we go.
I have returned.
He is back. He's back like, what? I don't know.
I fought my way back onto the channel.
There you go. He's back like a vision from Qui-Gon or something. I don't know.
I have returned.
You guys, we are going to have a good chat here today all about Andor, and maybe if there's anything else that pops up into our thoughts and our conversation, feel free to jump into the chat and talk along, and we will be just, I don't know, we're just going to be gabbing it up, right? Like, I feel so old and crusty when I say that, but like, I'm such a generic, cheesy dude. But anyways.
It works.
It works. So we'll be right back. Yo, and we're back already. This is going to be great. Yeah. It's going to be a great talk. We're going to get into it in regards to Andor. I mean, I know that not everybody is going to love the show as much as I do, but my opinion is that if you don't like this show, that you might not be worthy of calling yourself a Star Wars fan. That's so hardcore. Like, and I say that before I even really know what my brother Guardian's thoughts are.
You're stepping on fine lines here.
Yeah. But I mean, come on, it's super dope. We'll get into all of my deep thoughts on it. And some probably not so deep, but just at first, comment or two. What did you think about Andor?
Very different. It was like tonally, it was so different from the other shows. Like,
yeah,
if you just lined up all the Disney Plus shows, Andor would be the one like standing out.
I agree, man. I agree. And now, when you're talking about that, you're talking about the all the Star Wars Disney Plus ones, right?
Yeah.
It feels totally different, and in a good way, in a very good way, in my opinion.
There are some parts I do have a couple of problems with.
Okay. So go ahead. Let's. So I guess we're going to take a pessimistic approach. We're going to start with the bottom, the bottle half empty. For those of you guys who have seen some of the recent things that I've dropped here on the channel, there's stuff coming out of a podcast that I do with another friend of mine called the Good Dad Bad Dad podcast, and we talk about stuff like this too. His name's Eric, and we started calling him Halfy, as in half empty, because he's the pessimistic side. So I guess, Guardian, you are just following along in his footsteps in this moment. So let's hear, what didn't you like about Andor?
Okay, I'm just going to put it out there. Some of it did not feel like Star Wars to me.
100% agree with that, but I didn't have a problem with it.
For me, personally, for it to be called a Star Wars show is a very difficult thing. And I'm not talking about because it didn't feel like Star Wars properties. There was a lot of things that didn't fit with the actual Star Wars property and IP as a whole.
Okay, do you want to share a couple examples of those?
So I'm pretty sure during the series you see actual live guns, like not blasters, actual guns, which I had a bit of a problem with, because years before the Galactic Civil War, which is the Empire period, there were no mentions of actual guns, and they have been using blasters for over a millennium. And we have never seen actual guns before. And it just comes into the show with zero explanation, and it genuinely feels so out of place.
See, now I got to go back and watch again, because like that actually would make sense as to be something that's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I mean, you saw it.
Material.
It literally looked like an AK-47.
But did it shoot like one?
I can't remember, but I can remember it did not feel like a blaster. Like, blasters, they're very sci-fi, they're very Star Wars-y, and you can get the feel from them. But when you see like an AK-47 in someone's hands in the Star Wars universe, it just takes me completely out of the show.
And I take it, if I'm guessing, because I literally have no memory of this, was that from Ferrix? Like someone on that planet? Or
I'm pretty sure it's before the heist, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Oh, but like, so that planet there, or wherever they're at for that heist?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and because I think and I'm not making well, maybe I am being an Andor apologist here, but um, um, one of the things that I appreciated about like a Ferrex and even like the introduction of that bizarre kind of religious cult thing that they
Mhm.
had going on where the like before the heist um is that you're really seeing a whole different side of Star Wars. Like
Yeah.
you're seeing the the not so often talked about spots and perspectives. Even this is really like the real salt
Yeah.
of the earth type people, and even like a feeling that I was hoping we would get from Boba Fett and his time
Yeah.
on
That's what I mean.
yeah, it was like that does not feel like that. Like
Yeah.
that even felt real different then. Like it's like, what are y'all
Yeah.
doing here? But here, this felt like really gritty and like
Yeah.
a rustic, like throwback even type
The
of
thing I found with Andor is I felt like it was directed in a sense that it was not really meant to do with Star Wars. Like it had Star Wars stuff in it. It had ships. It had the galaxy. It had all that. It had Coruscant. It had the story. It didn't really. It didn't feel like Star Wars, and it didn't feel like it was directed that way either. And I don't know if I like that because tonally it's very different, and maybe that's a good thing. But
yeah.
some places where it could have used it a little bit more, just it felt very lacking.
So I think if you were showing up to this and you're definitely expecting to feel all the Star Wars feels, yeah, you're
Yeah.
surely disappointed
I
until
mean,
probably like the last two episodes. Like the episode, I can't remember the number, but the episode where like Luthen has the run in with the Empire and the ship, and his
yeah.
ship go like, come on, like that episode, that scene that was pretty dope where the
Yeah.
ship itself becomes like Darth Maul's blade. It's like doing
It's
all
just
of this.
spinning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool, bro. And that was probably up to that point at least the most Star Wars that I
Yeah.
think it really felt. But I think because it didn't feel so, I guess I'm taking the half the glass half full approach of your exact comment because it didn't really feel like Star Wars. It was actually a refreshing thing, and it felt like it was a really good entryway into the galaxy for people that aren't really Star Wars folks. Like I
Yeah.
don't know if you know this, but like just I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago, they decided to release episodes 1 and 2 to Hulu so that people that don't have Disney Plus can see it. Because right now, who's in Disney Plus and watching, guarantee you, all your Star Wars fans are there.
Yeah.
Like they got their Disney Plus, account because they're like, I can't miss the Star Wars content that's going out there exclusively.
Yeah.
But I think this would be a show that would appeal to people who aren't Star Warsy, that would draw them into the universe. And I think what you're saying, it sounds very similar to what a lot of the diehard MCU fans are saying recently with some of the Marvel projects, where it's
Mhm.
like, oh, it doesn't really feel like the old MCU, and it's like watered down stuff. And I think they're being intentional with trying to create stuff that draws in the not hardcore folks, but
Yeah.
it might unintentionally be a thing that upsets those people who are already in and know what they love, and it's like, oh,
I
you're
mean,
changing the formula.
personally, I'm not a big Marvel person, but like
Yeah.
just seeing all like I've watched a couple of new MCU movies, and I genuinely I can't sit through all of them. They're just genuinely so boring for me.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Phase 4 of the MCU has been really hit or miss.
Yeah.
From the movies and the shows. Some have been great, some have been absolute garbage. Like I
Oh.
I am so disappointed in like Thor Love and Thunder, for instance. And
Yeah,
I'm so confused. What
I've
were you gonna
watched
say?
that. I got up to the part where they stripped Chris Hemsworth butt naked, and I just walked. I
Yeah, it's
couldn't.
like, what are you doing? And because I'm a diehard Marvel guy, I'm going to watch it all.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's one of the things, and we don't need to get too deep into this, but I know you mentioned right before we went live that you are now more into the DC world.
Oh, I love DC. DC, I devour that stuff.
But here's where DC is missing it, and I hope with the hiring of James Gunn they get it right. They're missing an overarching story that keeps you tuned in no matter how good or bad that current project is. Because that's the place where Marvel's going to win right now.
Yeah.
Because unless they continue to do a string of crap, the people that have bought into the bigger story are going to watch the random duds because they need to see how that plays in.
Yeah.
So DC, if you get a sense that a DC film is garbage, you can walk and not feel bad about it and not feel like you need to even know what happened because the other thing might not even be related, you know.
I mean, it's very difficult in DC at the moment because they have a lot of stuff going on. And I've always said this, the DC animated films are so much better than the live action ones. They had an actual continuity going on there. They were trying to do what the MCU was doing, but with the animated films. And it was genuinely so amazing until they just decided to end it. I love this.
Did they end it and focus on the live action, or did they just end it to end it? Do you know?
They ended it to end it because I don't think they were doing well towards the end.
Oh wow, yeah. Because I've never been huge DC, but I have heard from people who are DC fans that by far they've all loved the animated content. Over
the series. I grew up with the series and the games, and they tie in with one another very closely, and I just love them so much. They hold a very special place in my heart, almost as close as Star Wars.
Nice. Well, speaking of, we should probably get back to Star Wars. So, I think we've got two different takes on the same understanding of it was different. It felt actually, like a standout thing. Now, I'm going to say something right now. That I got a really hot take. I'll save for later because I don't want to alienate anybody right now. But stick around. Stick around.
In my head, I'm contrasting Andor with Rogue One since they have the same central character.
Yeah.
And for me, if you compare those two different, I wouldn't say IPs, but different sources, they feel very different, and they don't feel like they connect very well. It just in my head. You see a lot of stuff. Yeah. You see Andor do a lot of stuff in his own series that does carry along in Rogue One, where he just instantly shoots people. But
yeah, I think one of the things we got to understand too with Andor is that it was created as a multi-series, or multi-season series.
Yeah,
so they're not done. So I agree with you, though. Right now, who we see in Cassian Andor is not who we see in Cassian Andor on Rogue One. Yeah. And I think that's part of what the show is showing you how in the world did we get to this guy over here? Because the guy we're seeing right now is he's even at the end of the season a different guy than he was at the beginning of the season, So they're taking you on a character development journey that I'm okay with. So I'll tell you, I've really appreciated Diego Luna's portrayal of Andor here. I've kind of appreciated the depth that he's given the character, where I feel like I don't know, he's holding it down. I feel like
he's a fantastic actor. I love Diego Luna.
Yeah, he's really doing a great job. Another character that I've really appreciated is Luthen. Now, there were parts of his character that I was actually getting a little confused on who he was. Not what his role is, but the type of guy he was. So at the end, so spoiler alert, if you didn't already know, at the end, I was shocked, but I guess not fully, that he's like, oh yeah, so let's put the kibosh on Andor. let's go take him out. I was like, wait, what? And I was like, I guess he's just all about the cause, no matter what,
He's like the Batman of DC.
Yeah, and I loved his little speech that he gave to their spy. Where he's like, you want to talk about sacrifice? I've sacrificed everything. I was like, oh man, Get it, bro. Get it, bro.
I
He was
did feel
acting.
like this series felt very speech heavy. Like sometimes it felt natural, but sometimes it felt very forced and crammed in, and it just didn't really bounce off the dialogue very well.
Sure. So that I will say that speech definitely would be an example of that. Even though I loved it, it was just like, oh, he's here. Here he's about to go into,
Another
into
monologue.
yeah. But I liked it. I thought it was cool. Um, another character that I really appreciate. I wish they had given us a bit more, and hopefully we get more from him later. Wow, that's a really dark rendition of
Oh,
Saw Gerrera. I
I love
I
Saw.
was I was excited
We've
that we got him in
seen
that.
we've seen a lot of Saw.
Yeah. Well, over all the different
Yeah,
platforms, you
we've
mean? Yes.
seen Clone Wars, Rebels, Rogue One, and now Andor.
Yeah, yeah. And like different versions in each one, right?
Yeah,
It's like
I mean,
a
we saw
different look.
why Saw started fighting in Clone Wars because he lost his sister. We
Mhm.
saw him later in Rogue One where he died. Now Andor, and now in Rebels as well, which is really good.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm a big fan, and I'm a fan of Forrest Whitaker too. So I appreciate that they got him there for that. But like one that I'm confused by, and hopefully they'll give us more next season. But like this guy, I think his name's Cyril or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't know how to feel about him. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
like I mean, so I don't like him as a character, and you're not supposed to. He's not like supposed to be a
No.
likable guy. But like I'm not sure where they're going there. I was also even thrown by the fact, and I wish I had a picture of her. The why don't I have a
Oh,
picture
the
of her?
agent, the ISB agent.
Yeah, yeah. Um
They had a very creepy romance going on there.
yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a really weird thing going on there. And it's
Yeah,
like at first I thought, like, why isn't she inviting him into the fold when like she was already so isolated from like everyone else that no one else cared about what she cared about? And then she finally finds one guy who's like got quality intel and experience with exactly what she's trying to go after, and she just like disses him for no
yeah.
reason.
I
I was
don't know. He felt very forced in it towards the end of the series. Like once he had his like
his
first like
re-entry
little
into it.
yeah, his
Yeah.
once he had his first little arc, I that
Yeah.
could you should have just ended it there. Like, there was no reason for him to persist through the series because he didn't have an objective. He didn't have a reason to be there. He's just like, hey, look at me. I'm going to stalk you now.
Yeah, it did feel like he should have been done. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and see what season 2 has to offer for him.
Yeah,
But yeah, his storyline was like,
midlife
um,
crisis.
yeah, it was sad. It was very
Yeah,
depressing. And actually, there was a like the first few episodes, like it was like, all right, the first one was dope, and then they're building the story, and then it went to a dark place when he's in prison, and like the other guy's like, living with his mom, and it's like, this
this
sucks.
switched.
Yeah, yeah, this is rough, bro. Like,
Okay, on the prison part, just real quick, I
yeah.
loved Andy Serkis. He played
Oh man, I
Snoke.
should have a picture of him. He was
Yeah,
awesome. He might actually have had the best performance
I'm
of
surprised
the
they brought him
whole.
back
Yeah.
because he played Snoke in the sequels.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I didn't
and
even
now
I didn't even realize that.
he's playing himself
Yeah.
in Andor.
But what I don't like is, and I hope they're gonna show us that this isn't exactly right, that they are giving us the sense that he's been killed off. I
Yeah,
hope he found some way out of there because
that
he was a
felt
dope character.
yeah. I mean, the one problem I did have with that is it reminded me a lot with Taika Waititi. He's doing a Star Wars movie as well, and he was
Oh
trying
yeah.
to hire Natalie Portman, who already played Padme, into his movie, not forgetting that she already was in Star Wars before.
So wait, he wants to hire her as someone who's not Padme, like
Yeah,
a
because
random.
he completely forgot she was already in Star Wars.
See, that's why he shouldn't have been directing Thor: Love and Thunder.
No, he just wanted her because she was working in Love and Thunder, obviously, and he was trying to get her onto his movie in Star Wars, forgetting she already played Padme, and that
Wow.
was just a funny thing to watch for me. It just felt
Wow.
very similar to that
Yeah.
that they've just hired him again.
Yeah. This is what I think of Taika Waititi lately. Like,
Oh no.
whoa.
He
The
had he had a good
Limp
start
Soldier.
with Ragnarok, and then it's just
Totally.
bombed it.
And you know what? So I wasn't in love with Ragnarok, but what I appreciated about it was that it was a bit of a fresh take on what was like a dark and dying franchise of Thor.
Yeah.
Like, because you to come after Dark World, you needed something
That
that was like,
that took serious skill. Ragnarok, I thought, like, as a casual viewer of the MCU, I really enjoyed.
yeah,
I haven't seen the other 4 movies because they're not rewatchable. I'm just gonna put it out
yeah,
to you.
no, it's all
But
good.
Ragnarok is the one I will revisit, like,
Yeah,
if I'm
that was
watching
good.
it.
It was fun. It was funny.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too deep into that because then we're going down the Marvel world. But I do have so many thoughts on that. Dang, I should just maybe we'll do another show. We'll rebrand it Marvel Minutes with, I don't know, my man who's
Casual
about to go
viewer.
to school in Manchester.
Casual viewer.
Yeah, casual MCU talk. Oh, anyways, I think another character that I thought had an interesting arc was Bix. She has pulled a 180, not intentionally so, and not even so much because her character developed, but because she freaking got tortured
Yeah.
and just becomes like a mess of herself. But I really liked her character early on. Like kind of the tough, like hardcore chick,
Yeah.
even though she was just like relationally all over the place. Like, oh yeah, I'm with this guy and I'm with that guy. Like whatever. But I thought she was cool. And one a couple final characters I'll mention before we have any other thoughts. But Marva, I like what I like about her, and I'm not 100% sure on what she really knew, but I liked her, the way that her character evolved to show us like kind of the heart of
That's
Cassian's story. Where like she was kind of his center, where she found him at his lowest and most lost, and then he grew up taking care of her and with her, and it was kind of all revolving around her, and then to see her go from like kind of encouraging him in things and then to be encouraged by him without knowing it was him. And that's the thing. Did she actually know that Cassian was the one who was behind that stuff when he came back from the heist and she was dropping all sorts of thoughts about how what happened there is just like catalyzed her rebellious heart, and now she's like, I'm ready to go, I'm awakened, and he's sitting there like, oh yeah, yeah.
the one
So I
thought I
wonder
have
if
about
she actually knew. Do you have any thoughts on that?
okay, so this is a little bit unrelated, but the one thought I had about her character is that I know it's the same character, the same actor played a character in the Harry Potter franchise. And that's all I
Yeah.
could think about during her whole screen time.
Yeah, she was one of the teachers or something, right?
No, she was the aunt.
Oh, I don't remember. I can visualize her, but I don't remember her
Yeah,
character.
she was the aunt in the real world.
It's one of those things where I don't really like, I was never hardcore Harry Potter. Now I know as a resident UK and however you want to
Oh
say
no, I
that.
don't like it either.
Okay. And I'm not
I just
anti it. It's just not my thing.
I
My
just
wife and my daughter, they love it. But
I just genuinely think it's a rehash of Star Wars. I mean, you have an orphan boy gets put with his aunts and uncles. Old mystical man takes him into the bigger world.
yeah. And he's got these powers that he's
Supernatural
hasn't yet
powers. He's the
discovered. He's trying to
chosen one.
develop. Yeah.
He's the special deity compared to everyone else.
And this villain, attacks their school where they're
This
all
villain
learning.
has a very personal connection to the main character. The parents of the main character died to the villain.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. I think I saw the case made. Was it Star Wars? It was something else. I don't know. I saw someone like pointing out a bunch of different things, and it was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, what about the droid? Like that's one thing that you see in every show, right?
Droid.
It's like they're introducing a droid maybe that wasn't featured much before. But what I think his name was B2 EMO or B2 Emo. B2 Emo.
If I say BMO, I just remember the Adventure Time character.
There you go. What you remember what?
The Adventure Time character, which was also a droid.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, you just.
Yeah.
So I thought he was cool. I thought he was functional for sure. Like, I mean, he's giving us a bit of old school R2, you know. But it's a bit more empathetic. Like there was a more natural human almost element to him.
I don't know. I just felt like they're adding way too many different variations of droids, and they're not explaining them properly. Like with the R2, the R3, and the R4 units, we've had them for like centuries. We're familiar with them, but now they're adding like new series like BB units. They're adding like all these different units, and they're not explaining them. And they're very, I don't know. It makes the galaxy feel like a little bit more alive, but now it just feels like it's overcrowding.
Huh. I don't know that I had the same opinion. I guess I also sometimes can be just like, cool droid.
Yeah. Because
much more lighthearted thought.
Because in almost everything recently, they've been adding like new variations of droids. Like in Fallen Order, we got BD units. In the sequels, we got the BB units and I can't remember the other ones. In Andor, we have the new ones. In Tales of the Jedi, we have the lifter droids.
True.
Yeah.
When I think that does go to the little comment I was making that like in each one of these shows, they're introducing a new droid. It's like it's like they just decide here's the formula. You know, we're gonna have these characters, and there's one of them's got to be a droid.
One's gonna be a traitor as well.
Right. Yeah. I am getting ready to now, I think, say the thing that you're going to completely disagree with based on this conversation. And I think maybe many others will as well. And I'm going to try to give my thought for supporting it. But I liked Andor a lot. I really did.
Okay, I don't think that's as bad of an opinion as you think.
But here's the thing that you might think is bad. I liked it better than Mandalorian season 1.
No.
Oh, I knew you.
No.
I knew I was about to lose you.
Disagree.
But here's why. And it's a real close battle in my heart for both of them. First of all, Mandalorian, I think it was the perfect show for when it came out, like to introduce Disney Plus. And it was a fresh take on Star Wars, so it was like intriguing in that regard. It was, tapping into that lore or the mythology around the Mandalorians, and these are the people of Boba Fett and all that. So
yeah,
that was definitely cool and dope, and it was very Star Wars. So unlike Andor, it was very much Star Wars, even though different, but very much Star Wars.
Yeah.
The thing that like really is the reason why I'm gonna drop it down just a hair is because there's a couple throwaway episodes.
See, you've lost me there. You've definitely lost me
there were, and I think it was season 1, and I hope I didn't just like mess up by that. But there were a couple episodes that was like, what was the point of the episode where I almost called him Baby Yoda. We know better now. Where Grogu is eating the eggs.
Like season 2.
So season 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's season 2.
I'll agree with season 2, but not season 1.
And I think in my head, I just mushed them all together because there was that episode. There was the episode with the spider planet.
That was the same episode. That was the same episode.
Was the same episode? Okay, so but maybe it's just season 2. So let me retract my statement. A little rewind. I like Andor better than season 2 of Mandalorian.
I can agree with that one. Season 1 is okay. Let me just explain it. This is probably just personal preference for me, but season 1 is some of the best Star Wars I've seen in ages, and I'd place it higher than some of the prequels. And it's mainly out of my love for westerns. I love classic westerns, Clint Eastwood. I love them all, and the Mandalorian to me felt very Magnificent Seven-esque.
Yep.
Where this lone bounty hunter doesn't talk much, man with no name sort of vibe, gets this new
he's
companion.
Like slowly gathering the crew of people around him.
He has to start opening up, and at the end, it all comes together in what is the finale of season 1, which I thought was phenomenal. I love Mandalorian season 1. And it's probably just my personal preference, but I love westerns too, and it's just
you're right, bro. You're right, and I think my problem is, and this shows up in a lot of my conversations, especially like on my podcast, Good Dad Bad Dad Podcast, which you can check out at gooddadbaddadpod.com. I have a faulty memory. Like I don't always remember things, and I think what happened, Mandalorian, it came out when there was a void of content. There really wasn't anything. And then the second season, it wasn't that long after the first. Like we've had to wait longer, I feel like, for follow-ups and like Book of Boba and all that stuff. So in my mind, I think they all just kind of blended together. Yeah. And I didn't have clear definitions between the two. Because there were some amazing episodes in season 2. Like I know when we actually got Boba. I loved those episodes.
Those episodes were amazing, but I'll agree with you. There's a lot of filler in season 2, especially second episode, which is the spider egg episode. No, I skip that episode every time.
Like what's going on there?
That was just to boost up numbers.
And so I think the difference there, and this is maybe the reason why I was kind of getting a sense of like, it felt more disjointed than Andor. So this is the other part, one of the reasons why I really like Andor. There was a clear sense of this is a story that we're telling with Andor. And there were parts of Mandalorian where you could really see there's a handful of directors that are doing this, and not like one person who's got one central vision telling one story, you know. And I think for that reason, I was giving the nod to Andor. But hey, you know what? In the comments, feel free to rip me to shreds. That's fine.
I do disagree with you a little bit, because I do feel like Andor did drag on in a lot of places. As I said, we have the parts with I forgot his name already. The guy who should have just been cut off in like the first 3 episodes.
Cyril?
He's such an unimportant character. His whole arc so useless. Should have just been cut like completely. There was a lot of times like that, which I think felt very, I don't know, it felt so forced and crammed in there. A lot of the flashbacks as well, if they spaced it out a little bit, it would have been
You're talking about when he was young flashbacks?
Yeah, I mean, if
I love those.
They would have been cool if they were like more separated and they fit into the story better. But I feel like they're very like disconnected some of the episodes a lot, and it felt very rushed in a lot of places. So like, say we had one per episode, so like one per episode 1. It's like this like it's continuing story, and then we find out the result of it at the very last episode, and it's like it comes together like that, and you're like, wow, so that's how this happens, or this is how this ended up like this. And I think that would have been a lot better. But I feel like to rush it all in the first couple of episodes felt very forced in. A lot of places, especially, like it just felt very crammed in there. But like, say they had sections, like I think one of them was really done really well, where I think it was Gaston was doing something, and I think he was going to sleep or something, and like he went into one of his flashbacks. That was like very good transition.
Natural.
Yeah. But a lot of them felt very forced. And I did feel like when Cassian was first being recruited to the rebellion in episode 3, that felt very forced as well, and it felt very disingenuous. Like, oh, hi, I'm this random guy. I know everything about you. Come work for me now, even though I shouldn't trust you, but here we are anyway.
Right. You know what? I can see that. I can see that criticism.
Yeah.
I definitely do agree with the fact of that there's like a short 3-episode story arc that then makes a real quick transition to a whole new thing. I want to say come episode 4, where it's like now we're in heist world or whatever.
Yeah, it felt like the series was split into like 3 parts. We had like the beginning, we had the heist, then we had the prison part, and that's just how it goes in my head.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I think the only difference I would say is I don't want to. Now, while I could see parts of episodes you saying, yeah, we don't need that, I don't think there's any whole episodes that I could get rid of.
Yeah, I mean, there might be enough content like throughout the whole episodes to maybe cut one.
Right? Yeah.
Like,
fair enough. It definitely wasn't perfect, but I loved it, and I'm going to stick with that thoughts. Well, hey man, we're at about 30 minutes already here. Are there any other thoughts about the show or anything else Star Wars related that you wanted to get to?
Tales of the Jedi.
Tales of the Jedi.
That was very rushed. I forgot that existed until it came out.
Actually, you know what? Fair enough. Me too. But
there was no promotion.
My co-host of that other podcast I was talking about, he's my plug. He's like always telling me what's up. You know, it's like the Ahsoka episodes, I was like, but I really liked the Dooku episodes.
Yeah, I did. A lot of it did contradict though, which is my one problem with that series. Like you'll see, like something happened. I think it was, I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was like something to do with Ahsoka and her like there was a whole novel based on Ahsoka after Order 66 on how she hid low, and one of the episodes like completely copied that, but they didn't like do it as the book said it happened. They changed parts of it where they should have just used the whole book. Like it would make a lot more sense, and it would make a smoother transition. Where now we have these two existing things that tell the same story, but they're conflicting with each other for what actually happened and what didn't. And the same thing happened again. I can't remember what it was. There's a lot of like contradictions, like in the training episode, like where Ahsoka was originally training, like where it took place shortly after the Clone Wars movie. You see Obi-Wan with long hair, where he actually had short hair in the actual Clone Wars movie. And the same thing happened in the same like sort of time area where she was being trained by, I forgot his name, it was like Master Snooby or Sanube or something. And she meets him in the Clone Wars episode where she's been taken off of Jedi business to do like Coruscant things and to like try and settle down and focus a lot more. And in that episode, it's implied that they meet for the first time, where this is now wrong because in Tales of the Jedi, you can see him training her. And it breaks the continuity a lot in places. And it really like messes my head.
And so that's how you can tell that I mean, I'm a little bit more than a casual Star Wars fan, but I'm definitely not like a deep dive. I know the content. Like I said, I have a faulty memory, first of all. But when it comes to like the books and all the animated series, I rushed through Clone Wars because I didn't have access to it when it was coming out, like when it actually came out. So when I finally got access to it, I was like, all right, I know I need to watch this. It felt like a homework assignment. And I was just like skipping through it. And I know that sounds like sacrilege.
Yeah.
Many like hardcore Star Wars fans. That's why one of the videos that I created was like, look, here's the episode you need to watch.
Yeah, that hurts a little bit. Like, sure, there was a couple of bad episodes which I don't blame you for skipping, like the Jar Jar episodes. That's completely understandable.
And there were also so many of like the creature episodes where it's like, or was it creatures or droids, where it'd just be like, here's a random disconnected adventure.
That was the point of the Clone Wars, though. Like it was supposed to be disconnected.
And maybe that's the problem because I didn't watch it live as it was coming out. I was watching it in the same way that Marvel fans need to watch all the content that comes out, because I knew that this was going to play into the larger story. So I wanted to make sure I knew all of the story.
Because
when I'm seeing stuff that like in no way helps the story, I'm like, you're wasting my time.
I mean, it's very non-chronological. Because I remember in season 1, you have an episode called Rookies, which focuses on Domino Squad before they were built up, and then in season 2 we get the Domino Squad as cadets on Camino, which is before the rookies episode, and then the following episode we have Domino Squad half killed off after the rookies episode. So we have one episode in season 1, then 2 episodes in season 2, and they just go they connect each other like that.
Yeah,
it's very
weird. Were they just the episodes of the show? Were they really just like, hey, here's a quick little thing that you'll enjoy for Star Wars. There's some good content.
Yeah, like if something was good, they'd expand upon it like they did with Domino Squad. That became like a whole
more longer arcs. Yeah,
like they didn't originally plan to do something more with them, but they did, and I'm glad for it because like Fives is one of my favorite clones ever.
Yeah. Well,
and there was a lot of arcs like that, like the droid arc with like they were infiltrating the Separatists. That felt stupid.
Yeah. Very true. You know what? After we get off here, I'll put in the comments for anybody watching it on replay a link to the video I'm talking about that you'll probably have issues with, because I know Guardian had issues with it when I released it.
I did post a comment on that. I know. I might give another rewatch and edit my comments. See what happens.
Well, you know what? As we can see from this conversation, I am not afraid to say things that many diehards would find ridiculous. So that's fine. Speaking of diehards, before we go, if you guys are Mandalorian fans, just came out today.
Yeah.
Season 3 premieres March 1st on Disney Plus.
We also got a trailer for the new Indiana Jones movie.
We did,
and a new trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Today. Will I get copyright strikes for like watching those?
I don't know. We watched the whole Book of Boba Fett trailer together. So
did we? You know what? Look, we're just gonna vibe with this right now, and I'm gonna pull up both of those. So Indiana Jones trailer. There it is. Oh wait, no, that's not it.
I forgot what it's called, but it definitely did come out. I watched all of it. It was glorious.
Oh, that is it. But why did someone called it Raiders of the Lost Ark trailer? I'm like, that's clearly not Raiders of the Lost Ark. Right, hold on. Let me see if I can share my screen and we're gonna watch it together. Oh wait, am I gonna have audio? Are you gonna be able to hear the audio?
I'm not sure. Also, it was announced that the next Guardians movie is gonna be the last one.
Oh, I think I had heard that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd heard it officially, but I think...
Yeah, it was official. It just got...
Okay. All right, let me see if I can do something to make sure to get... Here we go. System audio on. Let's see.
It is very disconnected.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but the audio for the actual video is very it wasn't coming through probably.
Well, you know what? I don't know if this is gonna work. Darn it! Because as soon as I tried to play it, I could no longer hear you. So I was like, okay, wait a minute, something's not gonna work here. So I'm gonna just try it. I'll try it one last time, and then maybe I'll just turn the volume way up on this thing. And I don't know. Whatever, we'll see what happens. Can you hear it?
No, there's nothing coming through this time.
Ah, boo! All right, fail. Well, you guys, that sucks.
Only on live. Only on live.
Yeah. These are the things that happen on live. And you know what? I've got a meeting in 3 minutes anyway, so I should be respectful of other people's time as well as the viewers' time. Do you have any final thoughts or anything that you want to share with anybody before you leave? Because it's about your bedtime. I mean, it's like what, 11 o'clock?
Oh no, I'm staying. I've got a very tricky sleep schedule. I've been staying up till 5 a.m. recently.
Well, I guess you did say school starts at noon for you over there, right?
Yeah, I go to sleep at 5 a.m. I wake up at 11, just 6 crazy. Hours.
Well, any final Star Warsian thoughts?
I'm very much looking forward to the new Jedi Survivor game.
Wait a minute.
You tweeted at me.
Oh, that old one.
Okay, It's coming out soon. It's coming out very soon.
Well, so you got to tweet me back when it comes out because I might not know. I must have just happened to see that because I got excited about a new Marvel augmented reality game that's not out yet. It's coming out next year, but it's like Pokemon Go, but for Marvel superheroes. So
there's also the Quantic Dream game. There's the Ubisoft game, and I forgot the other ones, but there is more games. There's a dice game coming out as well.
Nice. I've never really got into the dice games though, but all those
dice
other ones
produced Battlefront, which very good games. Nice. I love the Battlefront series.
I'm a big Ubisoft fan, so I'm excited about that as well. So, well, hey, you guys, I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Yeah, like, subscribe. We'll see you back here. Who knows when? I'm not going to tell you the time because I go live. I drop stuff here whenever something's happening, but hope you guys are rocking and rolling with us and enjoying your holiday or whenever it is that you're watching this. Any parting words, Guardian?
No.
All right. Well, y'all have a good one and be safe out there. All right. Peace.